Quiet confession. Kathryn Bernardo admits she misses her moments with Alden Richards. In the ever-evolving world of showbiz, where timelines shift and connections come and go, there are certain moments that leave a lasting imprint. Moments that linger quietly in the hearts of both the people who lived them and the fans who witnessed them. Recently, a soft wave of emotion swept through the online world after Kathryn Bernardo opened up about something deeply personal. She misses the moments she once shared with Alden Richards. It wasn't a dramatic declaration. It wasn't meant to stir controversy or ignite speculation. Instead, it felt like something honest, an unguarded reflection, spoken from a place of sincerity. And perhaps that's what made it so powerful. Because when someone like Kathryn, known for her grace and composure, chooses to look back and admit that she misses certain memories, it carries weight. For fans, the connection between Kathryn and Alden has always been something special. Their collaboration, whether through projects, public appearances, or simple interactions, was marked by a kind of ease that felt natural. There was no need to force chemistry. It simply existed. And in those shared moments, people saw something genuine, something that went beyond scripted lines or rehearsed scenes. So when Kathryn quietly expressed that she misses those times, it didn't feel like a headline. It felt like a memory being revisited. And memories, especially meaningful ones, have a way of staying with us. What made their dynamic stand out was the balance they brought into each other's presence. Alden's calm, grounded energy seemed to complement Kathryn's warmth and quiet strength. Together, they created an atmosphere that felt light, respectful, and undeniably real. Fans noticed the laughter, the subtle glances, the comfortable silence between conversations. It all added up to something that felt authentic. But as with many things in life, circumstances change, careers evolve, paths diverge, priorities shift. And sometimes even the most beautiful connections become something we carry with us instead of something we continue in the present. Kathryn's words seem to reflect that understanding. There's no regret in them, just a gentle acknowledgement of what once was. It's the kind of feeling many people can relate to, looking back at a chapter of your life and realizing how much it meant, even if it's no longer part of your everyday story. Fans, of course, were quick to respond. Social media filled with messages of nostalgia and appreciation. Some revisited old clips, relived favorite scenes, and shared the moments that made them smile. Others expressed a quiet hope that maybe someday their paths might cross again in a meaningful way. But beyond the fan reactions, there's something deeper to appreciate here. Kathryn's honesty. In an industry where words are often measured and emotions carefully managed, choosing to speak from the heart is not always easy. Yet in doing so, she reminded people that it's okay to miss something without needing to bring it back. That it's possible to cherish a memory without holding on to it too tightly. And in that sense, her words become more than just a reflection. They become a lesson. A lesson about valuing moments while they're happening. About appreciating the people who come into our lives, even if only for a season. And about allowing ourselves to feel without overcomplicating what those feelings mean. As for Alden Richards, he has always been someone who carries his experiences with quiet respect. While he may not respond in grand gestures, there's a sense that he understands the weight of shared memories just as deeply. And whether or not he chooses to speak about it, fans believe that those moments meant something to him too. In the end, this isn't a story about what could have been. It's a story about what was, and how meaningful it still is. Because sometimes the most beautiful connections aren't defined by how long they last, but by how deeply they are felt. And in that quiet space between past and present, between memory and reality, one thing remains certain. Some moments never truly fade. They simply become part of who we are. And as the story continues to echo in the hearts of fans, what Kathryn Bernardo shared begins to feel less like a simple statement, and more like a window into something deeply human. Because missing someone, or even just the moments you once shared with them, is never really about longing for the past to return. It's about recognizing that, at one point in time, something real existed. And that kind of honesty carries a quiet kind of beauty. For Kathryn, those memories with Alden Richards seem to live in that gentle space between gratitude and nostalgia. There's no urgency in her words, no pressure for anything to happen next, just a calm acknowledgement that those moments mattered. And sometimes that's more powerful than any grand declaration. Fans, of course, have begun revisiting everything. Old interviews, behind the scenes clips, unscripted laughs that once felt ordinary, but now feel unforgettable. There's something about hindsight that makes people see things differently. Moments that were once taken lightly now feel significant. A shared glance, a soft smile, a playful exchange. Each one becomes a piece of a larger story that fans are now trying to piece together again. And in doing so, they're reminded of why the connection between Kathryn and Alden stood out in the first place. It wasn't loud, it wasn't overly dramatic, it didn't demand attention. It simply existed, naturally, effortlessly, and in a way that felt sincere. That kind of connection is rare, especially in an industry where everything is often magnified and analyzed. And maybe that's why it left such a lasting impression. Because it didn't feel like something created for the public. It felt like something that just happened, and the public was lucky enough to witness it. As the conversation grows, some fans can't help but wonder, what if? What if they cross paths again in a project? What if time and circumstance align once more? What if those quiet moments find their way back into the present? But at the same time, there's a growing understanding among many supporters that not all meaningful connections are meant to continue in the same way. Some are meant to stay exactly where they are, in the past, preserved as something pure and untouched by expectations. And perhaps Kathryn understands that better than anyone. Her words didn't ask for anything. They didn't suggest anything. They didn't try to change anything. They simply remembered. And in remembering, she gave fans permission to do the same, to look back, to smile, to feel, and to appreciate what once brought them joy. As for Alden Richards, there's a quiet curiosity about what he might feel hearing such words. Known for his composed and introspective nature, Alden has always carried his emotions with subtlety. He doesn't often reveal too much, but when he does, it's thoughtful and sincere. And maybe that's what makes this moment even more intriguing, the silence on one side and the soft reflection on the other. Not as a contrast, but as a balance. Because sometimes, not everything needs to be said out loud to be understood. What makes this story resonate so deeply is how relatable it is. You don't have to be a celebrity to understand the feeling of missing a moment, a connection, or a version of your life that once made you happy. Everyone, in one way or another, has someone they look back on with a quiet sense of appreciation. And that's what turns this into something bigger than just a showbiz moment. It becomes a shared human experience. A reminder that even in a fast-moving world where everything seems temporary, there are still moments that stay with us, unchanged, unforgotten, and quietly cherished. As fans continue to reflect, one thing becomes clear. This isn't about rekindling something. This isn't about creating something new. It's about honoring something that already existed, something genuine, something meaningful, something that, even now, still has the power to make people feel. And maybe that's the real magic of it all, because long after the cameras stop rolling, long after the headlines fade, the moments that truly mattered are the ones that stay alive in memory. And in that quiet space where memories live, Kathryn Bernardo and Alden Richards will always have a chapter, soft, unspoken, but deeply unforgettable.